Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of the Faulty Logics podcast. Today we're going to be talking about bioengineering, which is basically you alter the DNA of your kids to avoid things. Now there's a really long article that we're supposed to talk about, but screw that, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to talk about bioengineering your kids and how cool it actually is.
Hold on, is like cyborging considered bioengineering?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm in. Because there are people telling me that it's there's an ethical issue with it because but your baby's not your own. You're like using someone else's information, or like, is it really your kid? Screw that. If you're telling me my kid could be buff like Chris Evans, sign me the heck up. I'm down, man.
I feel like we need a girl on this panel.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all for it, so
Yeah,
there's
we're
no
all
one
for it.
against it. But
Would you cyborg yourself?
Hell yeah. I got like glass knees. You kidding me?
man, I play games with like cyborgs and shit. I always wanted like cyborg arms and shit to be like a ninja.
Like your fingers, so you can play games better?
Maybe, yeah. Like my fingers detach and then they type like super fast, like in Ghost in the Shell and stuff. But
Okay, one issue I can imagine happening if we're doing kind of like body modification or like, you know, turning into cyborgs or like, you know, DNA stuff is like, how do you make sports fair? Because I mean, if you're playing against, okay, wait. Speaking of sports, I'm sorry I'm derailing, but do you think LeBron James is bioengineered to be
His
the
left leg.
physical specimen that he is?
On a joking matter, sure. But realistically, no, because he came from a poor single mother family.
Okay, no. Okay, here's a conspiracy theory. Okay, there's the single mother. No one really knows who his dad is. Do you think his mother is involved in some sort of government test tube thing where they impregnated her with like some superhuman thing to give birth to LeBron James, which is probably like the most amazing athlete we've seen in like the past 30 years? I think it's plausible.
he's like the Captain America. of
Yeah,
basketball.
He is a
he is Captain America.
He is a freak of nature, to be
Yeah.
honest. But I don't know. Like, you've seen him change so much throughout his career that like it's not really a cyborg thing because you'd be the same all the time, right?
Yeah.
But you've seen him come into the NBA as like less strong character.
Yeah.
He's more lanky. He's not as built, and you've seen him grow into this like tank. And then now you've seen him slim
Yeah,
down,
he's like
right?
really,
So
and he's really smart as well.
yeah,
So maybe they actually bioengineered his head,
his brain.
his
into
brain.
the-
So he's like,
He can control his body.
okay,
and change shape.
we're derailing this podcast real fast into a basketball podcast, which happens all the time.
You know, I think the problem with like bioengineering though is that they're gonna turn it into weapons. You know, so
Ah.
you
Turn
would have,
yourself
like,
into a weapon?
It's like Metal Gear Solid, where you'd have
Yeah.
like child soldiers that are bioengineered to like fight in wars and shit. That's the like the unethical part about it. I mean, but if you like could pay for upgrades and shit, I would upgrade myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want like superhuman strength and all that crap. But it's all fantasy until it becomes reality.
If you could upgrade only one thing about your body, like even if it's considered like a limb, like arm, you can only upgrade one arm. What would it be?
Yo, I upgrade my brain. I want to be super smart.
How do you upgrade a
that's-
brain?
I don't know. Can you like
take it out,
patch
do
it,
some shit, and put it back in? I don't know.
and like download a new patch?
The only problem is, like, what am I gonna get out of it? What benefits though? Because it depends. If
Depends
I get
what
like
benefits you
super
need.
like
Yeah.
jumping and shit, that would.
But it's only one leg.
Oh,
But you could be like LeBron James, have a
I can jump
bionic
like
left
really
leg,
high with one leg. So
like LeBron.
Yeah.
his left leg, yeah, just is fucking super.
Have you
dumb.
guys watched the crap, what's that Keanu Reeves movie, which is not The Matrix or John Wick? Johnny Mnemonic? Okay, it's basically a movie where he has some sort of thing, but he has like a USB plug in his head, and he's basically a human
Like the
USB.
Matrix.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
he's basically a human. He's basically a human USB.
Is he like a hacker? Or what?
Sort of. He transports data across from like point A to point B, and he does it in his brain because he uses like the storage in his brain to like transport
What?
data. And then the story of the movie is basically he has so much other people's crap in his brain that he has to erase his own childhood and his own memories to fit that data. But anyways, my point is, if I had to make one genetic modification, I would like get that USB so I can like download knowledge.
So I like that you bring that up because there's something that I read a little while ago about technological singularity.
Yeah.
And they say that by even 2030, we're gonna get to a point where we can implant nanochips into our minds, where we can store data there, So it's almost going to be like we have a hard drive in our brain,
Yeah.
and all we have to do is access that to get the information that we need. So it's basically like Google search in our brain.
That's good.
So we never have to pull out our phones to be like, oh, I need a Google search thing,
That could be a bad thing though.
because you
Remember-
can get hacked.
Remember the Kingsman when they had microchips in their head.
Yeah.
Oh
And they-
yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
can get
their heads
controlled.
exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
That's
the
where it
wrong
gets
hands, they could
questionable.
hack you.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
why I don't trust. It's weird. I say I want to augment myself, but at the same time, I don't want technology to control me.
Yeah, like technology can bring us to so many advanced places, but at the same time, there's so much malicious stuff that can happen as well too. So it's pretty crazy. I feel the same thing about electric vehicles as well. That
Right.
self-drive, like that can be hacked into and controlled,
I
right?
don't trust that either.
So, but I think it's really cool. Like the way that our minds work now compared to people that were born maybe like 10, 20 years before us. Like those people are wired in a way that they have to learn stuff and apply it. Like the way that we're raised in the technological area, we don't even have to learn stuff. We just have to understand how to apply it. So we can go and find the information and then figure out how to apply it afterwards. And in a sense, some people say it makes our generation dumber because we don't know the information. But then we just know how to find the information, but we're really good at applying it. So it's like, I don't know, it's an interesting concept. If we have this kind of database in our head as well too, we can download information, everything that we need, and all we have to do is whether or not you're smart enough to apply that information.
Hey, you know what? We could argue that compared to people like 30 or 40 years ago, we could be cyborgs already. Because look, I have my phone in my pocket, which is all the information that is technically out there, and it is with me all the time, like 80% of the time. So, technically, we are in the future.
Yeah, you can Google everything.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Okay, but on like a more serious note, I hope before we, augment our needs or like augment our brain, we can kind of bioengineer us to, at least like get rid of really basic diseases that are killing people. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, cool, I get super LeBron knees, but I screw cancer. Like, no cancer, anything that's avoidable. I hope it can. Actually, I should put it this way. I hope life-saving technology should be cheaper first and foremost rather than advanced, because if it's cheaper it becomes accessible.
Yeah.
Which I don't care for augmenting myself as long as we know that the money and the effort and the time is put into bettering lives of people that are not in the first world country or not the 1% like we are. So yeah, I just as much as we joke about it, like how great it would be if Max Jr. was like Chris Evans, but there are other priorities in life. We can't be too selfish.
I have a question in regards to that then. In terms of like bioengineering in order to save people or prevent people from even getting diseases in the first place, you being someone who comes from a Christian perspective, how does that play in terms of ethics? And is that like playing God? Like where does it come to a point where you're taking it too far?
Good question. For me, interpretation is, if it's bettering your lives, the core of Christianity, like the Christian faith, is that, you love God and you respect him. And just because you fix things that aren't working properly doesn't mean that you are disrespecting God or you're not loving God. So at least until someone gives me a very convincing theological argument that it is not the case, or like, I should rethink this, or gives me the other side of the coin, that is the part I'm leaning towards. Because at the end of the day, I don't think that's playing God. I think that's just making people enjoy their lives better, or giving the Ethiopian kid a chance to, listen to the gospel, or like, be like have a better life, or experience other things, or like have a chance to see the rest of the world. I don't think that's inherently a bad thing that any faith in fact would disagree with. So yeah, I think that's my stance. Obviously it's one person's opinion and I don't speak to all my Christian brothers and sisters, so
Right.
yeah.
Another thing kind of related to that as well too is that if this is something that can save lives or prevent people from dying, is this something that should be mandatory that people do, or is it something that is only going to be affordable to those who have the luxury to afford?
Now this is the good ethical question, and
Right.
the answer is I don't know. Because first of all, I don't think it's going to be free,
Right.
and second of all, this is like we're kind of seeing a version of this with like vaccination.
And abortions and
Yeah,
stuff.
the abortion and stuff. And this stuff is I actually don't know the answer to, because I feel like there is a stronger argument and there's a much weaker argument, but at the same time there's still two arguments. So I haven't put enough thought into this. I thought we are just gonna go straight like superhero instead of like going so ethical. No, but I think that's a very good question, and it's one of those things that as technology advances, we're coming across questions that we've never considered, and man, I don't think my pre-augmented brain is good enough to consider these. Skinny Tyrus, any thoughts?
Skinny Tyrus.
I mean, yeah, as much as it would be cool to have like, you know, superpowers or like superhuman strength and, you know, knowledge, yeah, you got to think of how it could be applied practically. Make it affordable to people, but you know, everyone's not going to do it. Like, people are going to be against it, like the vaccines and stuff too, right? But the thing is, like, what if you have people with like these like upgrades to themselves and they start doing like, you know, criminal stuff to like normal people that refuse to do it, and then it's gonna be exactly like we see in the movies where like segregation happens, where you have like the augmented and
you have like the elitists
like,
and non-elitists.
Yeah, like all those video games, Ghost in the Shell, Deus Ex Machina, X-Men, yeah, like mutants and humans. And it's like, it's reality, or it's like fictional, but it could become reality.
Yeah.
So yeah, we won't really know. There's no way to tell for sure. It's like, this is all hypothetical.
Yeah.
But
all right.
it's an interesting topic.
It's a very interesting topic, and you know, I really do hope that at some point in our lifetime, we'll, you know, these things will advance enough for us to, you know, get an answer to this, and you know, maybe stuff on this podcast we'll listen to like 50 years down the line and go like, oh yeah, we're so dumb back then, we didn't know that the solution was this, this, and this, or like we're thinking on like the wrong side of the tracks at all. It's like, I don't know, but this is all pretty cool stuff. You guys have any last things to add?
Well, I'm actually curious about what other people think about that are listening to this as well too. Like, if you guys have any ideas, let us know in the comments what you guys think about it. And yeah, I'm really curious about what people think about it.
Yeah, if you guys don't want to talk about the too ethical side of stuff, then you can just tell us what favorite superpower you want to have, or if you want LeBron knees or
probably a bionic penis.
Yeah. whoa.
I was expecting one of these.
All right, okay. I guess this wraps it up for this episode, really off the rails episode of Faulty Logics podcast. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for another one sometime this week or next week. Peace.
Thanks for watching this week's episode. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, and here are a few more videos for you to watch. If you have any burning questions you'd like us to answer or different issues you want us to talk about, leave a comment below. Also, don't forget to hit the circular icon in the middle to subscribe to our channel, and make sure to head over to our website and follow all of our social media accounts.